Hi everybody. Just I Please can you introduce yourself and tell us where you came from in the house? My name is Edafe Okporo. Many of you might have seen me online. I'm the director of RDJ Refugee Shelter in Harlem. Among the recent winner of the David Prize 2020, and this is an event to update you guys about the David Prize and also introduce you to the work I'm doing in a broader sense. So I'm going to invite Ellen on and hope to have a chat with her. So continue writing where you're from and your name. Love from Iran. Thank you. I saw Nigeria a few seconds ago. My name is Sarah. I come from Nigeria. Thank you. Yeah, we're waiting for Ellen to join the conversation. Hi all. Sarah from Colombia. I'm from Nigeria, so I think I can say that my name is Edafe. I'm from Nigeria. I came to the US in 2016 as an asylum seeker. Hey, from India, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, we global. So I'm going to send a request to Ellen and I'll wait for her to join me. First, hi, Les from Ohio, Jasmine. Hi, Ellen.
Oh, my apologies. It took a second.
No problem. I love the heart. To start with, I
Love hats. I can't help it.
so recently, when I was watching season one of Umbrella Academy, I just want to tell you this story. So I was like, what superpower does she have? Like, when is she going to be? Why is she just like that all throughout the movie? And at the end of season one, when I saw the iron burning when you were walking in the rain, I was like, oh my God, she's so damn powerful.
Yeah, yeah. That was a fun scene to shoot. Yeah, when everything was doing that. Yeah. But I'm so happy to see you. We've been, in touch a little bit, over this past few months, but I'm so happy and honored to be talking to you. And I just admire your work so greatly. And I'm excited to talk to you about you and all the work you've done.
Thank you very much. And I know that is a privilege and an opportunity I have to have this conversation with you today, especially somebody I have admired for a very long time. The first time I saw you was on Stevie Colbert's show. I was sitting with my partner. We were watching you you came out and it was so awkward. Colbert wanted to bring somebody on the stage and you guys were discussing about something else, not your show you came to promote. And I was like, who's this person? And who's this person? So I went online and I Googled and I discovered that you're also a member of the community. And I'm like, oh my damn God, I'm following you right that damn moment. That was the first time I followed you. So I just want to ask you, as somebody that is in this space, why are you committed to promoting equality?
I guess to me, it just feels like it's what we should innately be doing as human beings. I guess to me, it's a little bit no question what we should be doing, and then especially when I'm in such a fortunate place to have the privileges I have, the resources I have, the platform I have. To me, it's actually an absolute must. And it's because, needless to say, people are affected in such extreme ways that I have and will never experience. But of course, we collectively, we experience a world that is, as we know, not equal and treats people less than. And I feel like it's, you know, whatever privilege we have, we got to use that. And yeah, So
So,
yes, that's sort of my thought process behind it.
so before I move into myself, I want to ask you this question. In real life, how do you relate to being a superhero in a movie? How do you relate? So I have chills talking about this because your role as an underdog that became like the the key figure, it reminds me of myself because I was growing up, I was the last in my family, and nobody saw that anything good would come out of me. Nobody in my family has gotten an education, nothing like that. I came from being an underdog and the most rejected person in my family because I'm gay to becoming this central figure in my family, first person to have a master's degree, traveling abroad outside my country, and now representing my family in a whole different form. So, like, how do you relate to being that person that was underrated and now seen as like a large figure in real life? How do you feel about that?
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think one of the most special things with the job that I do in terms of acting is knowing that certain roles and certain stories can resonate with people and meet people, and they see themselves in that journey. And I definitely did, too. Uh, and and I guess, yeah, for me, I feel so lucky to be a part of the show. It is so fun, and it's such a great group of people and such a fantastic character. And so I guess, yeah, for me, in terms of exploring that journey, I think she particularly related to a lot of people. So
So I want to time travel with you. If you have an opportunity, I know you didn't expect this. There are people from different countries on this live. There are people from Iran, Mexico, your fans spread across the world, Colombia, and what have you. And there are people in America also who are like so excited to see you. If you have an opportunity to time travel to any particular time in history, what time would you travel to?
it's so hard to know how to answer that, because you're like, oh, are we thinking of something sort of fun and unique, or we're supposed to stop something that happened? There feels like a lot
So
of pressure with this question.
tomorrow is a US election. If you have an opportunity to time travel
Maybe it's going to
politically,
tomorrow and in the coming few weeks, perhaps. Yes. Yes.
you would travel forward or you would travel to 2016 and correct the
Oh,
US election.
smart. Or further back. These things have been going on a long time, so we might want to go way, way back. It's
Yeah,
been
so
and I feel like enough about me. I want to talk about you. I want people to hear your story, the work you do, and with the RDJ Refugee Center, shelter. Sorry, my apologies. The
no problem.
the only shelter in New York City specifically for asylum seekers and refugees who are experiencing homelessness. And you do so much work there. So yeah, I mean, I know that's like a big question, but I just think it would be wonderful for those who aren't familiar with your work to know more about you.
Yeah, thank you, Ellen, for this opportunity. So I'm very excited to talk about my work because it's like me living through the experience of my work. So I came to the US in 2016, few days before the presidential election, I think 6 days before the presidential election. When I sat at JFK Airport, that was the first time I saw Trump on TV. He was campaigning about building the wall. So imagine a new immigrant that just came to America. You are hearing this that you are not welcome here. So it was a frightening time for me. So I was detained by immigration. I spent 6 months in an immigration detention center and I was released. When I got released from the immigration detention center, no form of support. Just in the middle of the night, they opened the door and they said, go. So this was like the experience of so many asylum seekers who come to America. When I had the opportunity to become the director of the shelter, it's so gratifying that I had the opportunity to be to people what nobody was for me when I came to this country. And in the last 3 years, I've been helping asylum seekers who come to this country and do not have a place to stay, to find a place to stay, to connect them to legal services, to connect them to social services. And it's very, very fulfilling. The most important part of my work, I think, is also being a voice for global LGBTQ rights. As someone who was persecuted in my own country before I came to the US, I know many people in my generation do not know how it feels to be like a persecuted minority, because the US rights started changing since 2012 and it has changed dramatically. So I knew what it was for me to have a right as a queer person. It was between life and death. And being a gay person that is recognized by a prize like the David Prize just reinforced that psychological feeling that, like seeing you as a superhero who is a member of the community, it reinforced that psychological feeling that you are not a destitute or you are not a forgotten member of the society. You deserve to be recognized. You don't have to feel like you are not worthy of being part of that movement. So I think that that is how I feel right now. My work being recognized.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible, and I think uh, the work that you've done and the journey and what you've been through, and the fact that now you devote your entire self and your life to allowing people to feel safe and to thrive. And I maybe it's if you want to talk about some of the work that the shelter does, because I was reading about the work you do and just how holistic it is, and that seems like something you very much specifically focus on in terms of helping with housing, learning English as a second language, health insurance, mental health support, sort of you name it,
in
So
the last in the last 9 months, though, it has been very challenging because, since the pandemic happened, immigration courts were closed. So people do not have access to immigration courts. Most asylum seekers do not have health insurance. And in June of 2020, the Trump administration even tried to erode the ability to seek asylum. So since I came to America, it has been an up steep curve fighting for the right of asylum seekers. One thing I do here that I appreciate is also being a voice for asylum seekers who traditionally do not get to talk about the issues we face because of state sanctioned penalties we can receive. I know how difficult it is for me to get my green card because I was very outspoken and vocal. So with the shelter, three services we provide. One is direct service. We provide a 10-bed space for asylum seekers and work with other organizations in New York City to provide housing for asylum seekers. We also have case management. Through the case management, we look for pro bono legal services because when an asylum seeker comes to America, having lawyer is very important. Then ESL, English as a second language. We also look for mental health services and any kind of social services they will require. And the third part is grassroots activism to change housing law in New York City. The difficulty we are faced with asylum seekers is that when they come to America, they get like um, what would I call it, entry level jobs. But due to the pandemic, a lot of them have lost their jobs. So we provide them food cards, we provide them food here. We also give them clothes and everything they need for sustenance. So it has been more difficult for us because the people have to stay longer than they will usually stay in. And new people are not coming in because the US border has been closed due to the pandemic. So this last 9 months has been very stressful, but we continue to remain persistent, hoping against hope that things will change for the better and we can continue doing our work because it has seemed grim in the last 4 months. And just recently, the Trump administration announced that the amount of refugees the US is going to receive for the next fiscal year is going to be 15,000. 67 million people are currently displaced, and the US is going to be taking just 15,000. This is the lowest it's going to be in very long time. And we're just hoping that things change so that we can be able to welcome more people, so that we can be able to transition our existing guests and continue the work we have been doing.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of, I would imagine, in terms of asylum and those, yeah, seeking asylum. Uh, would you say like this election, so much is at stake? And at least, would you say that the most it's sort of been at stake, since you've been experiencing your journey, since your journey began?
This is the most consequential election for immigration in America. There has been a complete and total erasure of any form of immigration in America, starting with dreamers and DACAs. The Trump administration is trying to end DACA program that allow children who came here to have a pathway to citizenship. The Trump administration is ending reunification of family. Nigeria is among the 13 countries that are banned from getting immigrant visa to America. January this year, since I came here, I've not seen my mother for 7 years. January this year, I tried to apply for her to get the immigrant visa to come here. She was in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, to do a visa in the US Embassy. A day before a visa, that was when Trump ended the visa application for Nigerians. So I couldn't see my mother. And so many people who come here as refugees, especially not having connection with families here, use family reunification to get their family here. And the Trump administration is ending that separation of children from their mother at the border. 500 and something of these children, their parents are nowhere to be found. So if anybody think that this is nothing, this is the most consequential election for US immigration since 1940, when the UN was founded to protect people fleeing from persecution. Everything is at stake. There have never been a time whereby asylum seekers have to seek asylum in a third country. And the Trump administration is saying that you have to seek asylum in Mexico and not in the United States. That is not how asylum law is written. Gay asylum seekers who travel from Africa to South America and have to take through those difficult terrain to come here, it will almost not be possible for them to seek asylum in America after going through everything to get here. So I think that it's very difficult. I don't know how to explain it, but we need something else, and we need it right now. And everybody have to know that no matter how little they contribute, is important and is needed right now more than ever before.
How is your mom doing? How's your family doing? Are they doing?
My mom is fine. So, like, my mom has always accepted me, but the other members of my family, they find it difficult to be like, oh, you're an African man. Why would you be like this and X, Y, and Z? My mom had been facing this uphill battle. Even recently, when I won the prize and I was on the New York Times and talked about my sexual orientation, my aunt and the rest, they were telling my mother that, oh my God, it's being successful in America, but this gay thing, what do you think about it? She has always faced that uphill battle, but she's good. And any way I can support her, I always try to lend that support she has always offered to me all throughout my life.
Well, and speaking of, the New York Times and the David Prize, which you won, which congratulations,
Thank you.
so well deserved. Maybe you want to talk about the David Prize, available for people in New York City, and yeah, maybe speak to what it is, the sort of criteria, how you submit.
Sure. So the David Prize is a prize that's awarded to 5 New Yorkers, no string attached, for you to focus on your ideas. So when I heard about this prize, I didn't believe that there would be a prize for 5 people, no string attached. A volunteer of my organization nominated me, and I received an email that I should apply for the prize. I was like, oh my God, people of color, LGBTQ people, we don't always have this kind of opportunities. For white people, I'm not going to do it. But another person sent me another email and said, Edafe, I think you should do it. So I applied for the prize in late last year. So they were supposed to award the winners of the prize in spring, but due to the pandemic, they shifted the prize. And I think that the work we did during the pandemic was effective, and I was named among the 5 winners to go focus on my idea. I think one thing the David Prize does is that most foundation, when they give you a grant, they give you a stipulation of what you should use their money for, do's and don'ts. But the David Prize doesn't do that. They give you money, no string attached. Go and focus on your idea. The, I, I remember I asked a question in the last interview. How would you know if somebody take your money and run away? And the David Prize advisors responded by saying, have you taken people money and run away before? Look at the work you have been doing without any of this form of support. So we believe that people have the goodness in their heart to do things to impact people's life. And that is why we choose people we believe they need this money to move their ideas to the next place. So it was really like, I don't know how to explain. It was really heartwarming to be a recipient of the prize.
And are there sort of specific ideas you've been thinking of and, been, in terms of your versus the resources now? Are there
Yeah,
specific things you want to focus on?
Yeah, so a big part of my work is civic education because I remember when I came to the US, a lot of people do not know about immigration detention centers. And recently I've been going around talking about the issue of housing for refugees. A lot of people do not have a concrete knowledge about it. In 1981, when AIDS crisis was ravishing through New York City, Housing Works became the organization that was fighting for gay men to have access to housing as a way of combating the epidemic of AIDS, which later became an organization now that provide housing for people living with HIV and AIDS from the city. So we have the same footprint. We want to be the organization that will be representative of housing for refugees and displaced persons in New York and all across the country. Our roadmap is Vision 2025 to have 100-bed housing units in New York City dedicated to asylum seekers and refugees. And what we are planning to do is to move with a coalition of housing and tenant advocates to change how developers view housing as a critical issue for our population, and also use the stories of the people we have served and how it has impacted their life. For example, there are people we met in the New York City rescue shelter system, and the New York City rescue shelter system do not have comprehensive services like we do. We provide not just a bed, we provide other form of support they need, and that is the kind of housing we are advocating for the city and the municipal council to create for refugees and displaced people in New York City. And I believe we can do it. 2021, we have a new election cycle in New York City. We're going to be turning our mayor and our councilmen. So we hope to be able to continue pushing the messages in a broader sense to create more civic engagement to be a ballot issue in 2021 in New York City. If we can do it in New York, we can do it across the country. So we start local and build national.
And for those watching right now who would want to support you in this initiative, how would they maybe go about doing that?
So there are two ways to support us. If you go to www.rdgrefugeeshelter.org or click our Instagram, the link will lead you to action. There's a page that says action. You can volunteer to write letters to city and council members. You can donate to our work. We usually organize once in a month event whereby volunteers come together to write emails to the Commissioner on Immigrant Affairs, to write the mayor, to advocate for a change. So go to our website and click Take Action. one of the two actions you take will go a long way to helping people. Also, we're starting a new initiative. There are people in detention centers that need just a pen pal, somebody to write them later, because this pandemic has been very difficult, especially for LGBTQ people, trans people who are locked up in detention center. So we want to let them know that they have a family out here. So if you join us, you can help write later to those people who are experiencing difficulty in detention centers. So there are three ways you can act, go take action today.
And so this is all available on the shelter's website?
Yeah, it's available on our shelter website on Take Action.
Yeah, which is just so people know to go take action, is rdjrefugieshelter.org.
That's wrong. Yeah.
You have a website as well, which in your bio, or but that's a great place to get information as well, and where I learned more about you and your experience, of course.
Yes. So I just signed my memoir with Simon and Schuster,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be writing for the next 2 years. So I think my website is a place for people to sign up to my newsletter. So when anything comes up, they could be first to know. My work is going to move me from place to place. I don't know for certain where I will be in another 2 years from now, but I want to keep people engaged. That's why I provide a newsletter section in my website for people to stay engaged.
Maybe like in general, in terms of the action conversation, I think of you been through the situations you found yourself in, the struggle, and how you've just again completely devoted your life to helping people, and as you said, support people in the way that you weren't supported. And I think there's so many people that really want to help right now, right? And they feel so overwhelmed because it's so much.
It's a lot.
And maybe what are some words of wisdom and inspiration you could give to those who are in that position, that are just thinking, I'm really not sure what I can do, or what I have to offer.
So thank you very much, Ellen. I think that this is a conversation people always ignore, is that for somebody who have nothing, something is everything. I think that it is also good for us to see how privileged we are as humans. This is the first generation that people die more from surpluses than less. That means we have a lot, but because we live in a capitalist society, that the greed for more and more and more makes us to forget that just $2.75, which is the train ride for New York City, can make a refugee not get a job. I remember when I was looking for a job when I just came to New York, I had to jump from one train to another to cost me $2.75. Just that alone, that a newcomer comes to this country and had to attend a job interview, might make them miss their job. Some people, it's just resume. They need somebody to help them write their resume because they came to this country, they come from a different landscape, they don't know how to write a resume. Some people don't even know how to dress for an event. They just need somebody that will teach them how to dress appropriately for an interview. So whatsoever skill you have that somebody doesn't have is a privilege you have over others. And there are simple ways to help. When you feel like indebted by every news you are receiving, when you see the impact of the work you do on somebody's life, it gives you that courage to want to live another day. There's some days that I'm so exhausted. I'm tired of everything that's happening. I'm like, I'm done with this refugee and asylum work because everybody, the pressure is just too much. But when I see another asylum seeker that gets a job, that rents an apartment, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. What would be as fulfilling as seeing this person move from this step to another? So I think that despair and wallowing in like, oh my God, would not help anybody. At this time, we should be looking at what do we have that people don't have that we can support them in doing. That is the only way we can fight our despair. It could be talking to somebody that is distressed, that is not you. For example, when I came to the US, the first time I came here, I do not know how to navigate this city. I was supposed to go to Social Security office. A 15 minutes train ride took me almost 4 hours running around the city back and front until somebody came and took me to the Social Security office, sat with me there, just discussed with me. At the end of my day, took me to the Statue of Liberty, and she went home. When she went home, she wrote me and said, I was having a very terrible day. When I took you to the Social Security office and took you to the Statue of Liberty, I felt somewhat better because I realized that no matter the difficulty I was facing, here is this person that do not even know how to take a train that would take him less than 15 minutes to go and apply for Social Security. So I think that sometimes we should remember how little things could make a great impact in other people's life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's such, yeah, amazing advice.
Thank you. There's a lot of people from different parts of the world, and message has just been going like this.
We should do take a wave moment. Yeah.
Maybe maybe
Um,
I should maybe I should do a selfie of both of us.
do what? Sorry.
A selfie of both of us.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I took two selfie of us. So I think one more thing I just want to talk about is that the David Prize is available for application now, and the application will end December 2nd or so. And even though you don't have a full application, I think it's something that people can take the month of November to look into because there are very few opportunity for people right now. And the David Prize does not care if your idea is at the inception stage or if it's at the final stage. They were very supportive for me because I'm a good public speaker, but when I was preparing for my final presentation, I was afraid to tell my story because I feel like I was being vulnerable too much or things like that. And they helped me, the staffs, Mickey and Erica, they helped me to shape my presentation. And I think that just having that encouragement, even though you don't win the prize, the 22 finalists, they help us prepare our idea in a way that it will scale if we present it somewhere else. So even though you don't win the prize, the kind of support you get from being a part of the process, it helps you refine your idea. There's a lot of us that are in despair, Black, Latinos, um, people who have not gotten resources for their entire life, and they are wondering, what can I do to help my community? So any idea you have had, like the guy that won as a composter, he lived in the New York City public housing for almost his entire life, and now he started composting, and he has won a grant that can help him help people who are living in public housing to do composting. So your idea might be at the inception stages, but this application process might be an opportunity for you to move your idea to the next process because marginalized people are always afraid to like take that next step. That is why when I saw that I'm speaking with a superhero, I'm like, I wish Vanya can just touch people and tell them you can do it. Just do it.
I
I
wish
think
it,
that push.
yeah, it would be nice from time to time. Yeah.
I wish you can just push and say, give, and the wind take over and say, okay, you're moving to the next level. I think that people need that push right now to say that my ideas might not be where they want to be, where I think they should be, but by applying or putting an application can help them create that change that they have felt so paralyzed to create. And I think that that is something I have learned is that instead of wallowing in like, I should have done this, I should have done that, I look at what is the next opportunity I could utilize. I've had more failures than most people my age. I'm 30. I've failed with a lot of things. I've tried different things. My English is not that great. I write a lot. I don't speak fluently. I speak a lot because by trying, I end up doing things that come out to people and they were like, oh my God, he did this and he did that. Is by trying. So I would advise people to try and put in an application and see where they go with it.
Yeah, I think that's such good advice because, like you said, and for so many people, whatever that next step is can be so intimidating. Oh no, can I really do it? Like you said, feeling worried about failing, and ultimately, like to have that push and to be able to, finesse an idea is such a great opportunity.
And one of your fans said, I'm a big fan. Please notice me. I didn't get their
Oh,
name. Maybe you give a
I
shout out.
noticed you. Sorry, I'm not like looking down much, which is because I'm obviously interested and inspired by you.
Thank you very much.
All these messages and all this love is very sweet, um, and I'm so glad people have tuned in to the conversation to learn more about you and
Me too.
David Prize, which is such a help. It's yeah, such an incredible organization.
Thank you very much, Ellen. Thank you for taking the time to have this conversation with me. I also appreciate the fact that I know you're a celebrity, you're a superstar. I appreciate the fact that you always find opportunity to lift the voices of people that deserve it. I will tell you a story in closing. You won't believe this, but I've known you for a long time. When you were shooting your documentary about places where it's dangerous for gay people to live in, one of the organizations that you raised fund for in Nigeria and Jamaica, I was working for one of those organizations. So
Wow.
you have impacted my life before I came to America.
Mhm.
So I have known you to be a social justice warrior even before I came here. And I want to recognize the fact that throughout the pandemic and the protests that have been happening with Black Lives Matter and LGBTQ pride and asylum seekers fighting for their rights, you have always shown us support, and it means the world to somebody like me because sometimes I always ask myself, why do people who have influence do not always stand up for people who do not? And you have shown me, and I think most people that respect you around the world, that you care about us. And that is very, very heartwarming for me.
Well, I feel incredibly humbled and grateful to you for saying that and sharing that. And it's individuals like you that inspire me and want to, of course, makes me want to be a part of helping create a more just, loving, healthy, beautiful world. And individuals like you are literally transforming countless lives. And I know, I'm sure, inspiring so many, just in this last 40 or so minutes or wherever. So yeah, I'm grateful to be in a position that allows me to do the work I do. And yeah.
Thank you very much. Someone asked how old are you? I'm not going to ask you that. I just want to ask you one question. Like, are you currently in Canada?
I'm currently in New York. New York.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Is there going to be a third season of Umbrella Academy?
Pardon?
Is there going to be a third season of Umbrella Academy?
Um,
Mouth seal. Okay. I see. Thank you very much.
it
I
was
really
nice.
appreciate.
Let's stay in touch, of course.
Sure, Ellen. Have a nice one.
You too. Bye.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for attending. I'm going to take my leave right now. I really appreciate you coming here to learn about the work I do. You could follow my Instagram page at Edafe Okporo. Have a very nice day, you all.